Madam President, I read this resolution, and I happen to have read the Senate bill in Arizona. I read both. And I thought a lot of the rhetoric in discussing this resolution was mischaracterized, was not factually true, and was a chorus of political pandering at its worst. And this is what I do know. Number one, in the state of Arizona, there are 460,000 illegals that cross that border. It costs the taxpayers in Arizona $2 billion a year to fund education for the illegal aliens. When I read the legislation of Arizona, it talks of illegal aliens. That's the only thing it talks about. It welcomes legal aliens. It welcomes immigrants who come to Arizona and come to America and contribute and make this country a better country because of their presence. What is a little disturbing to me is remarks like a slap in the face to America, anti-immigration. It's not anti-immigration. It's anti-illegal immigration. That's our law. That's the law here in New York. And I agree with all of you who have gotten up and said, we need the federal government to step up and put forward a national immigration policy. And it's a travesty of justice that we have waited so long for the federal government to do this. So I ask you, how does the residents of Arizona or any other state near the borders protect themselves when you have gangs coming over, terrorizing residents that live there, and raising the expenses on the state budget for illegal activity? What does that have to do with the validity of immigration? And all of the rhetoric was more to, it's an attack on immigration. So I honestly think it's misguided. And I join you in asking the federal government to do more. But what are the people of that state supposed to do? They're asking that the federal government come in and enforce the federal law, which is not being done. So 70% of the population stands up and says, we got to do, this is a defense mechanism. We got to protect ourselves. I don't think they are people that are intent on racial profiling. If they were, that would be wrong. Of course it would be wrong. But we have these laws in New York if there's reasonable suspicion and probable cause that a police officer can stop someone and ask questions, whether you're here legally or not. And they do. So what I particularly find offensive is by calling this anti-immigration. It is certainly not. And when you read the statute, when it talks about businesses in Arizona that hire illegal immigrants, they want to send them back, which is the federal law. And just as a point of information, those Hispanics that are in Arizona, that are there legally, they don't like illegal Hispanics coming to Arizona. They're not anti-Hispanic, but they believe that they went through a system, a process, to conform to what the law is. And why should illegals come in and take work away when they're there to work? So there's more to this than meets the eye with all of the rhetoric. And I also question, why do we stick our nose in other states and their problems when they could be passing these resolutions condemning us for not having a timely budget, or the amount of criminal convictions we have of elected officials in the last 5 years. And they can stick their nose in our business. We shouldn't be in their business because we got a lot of business to take care of here, and we're not doing it. And our time could be spent more effectively addressing the problems that we have in the state of New York. And all those that have spoken, I wish they would have read the statute in Arizona before they spoke. And there's not one mention in this resolution of that statute. But there is mention of anti-immigration. I wasn't going to speak, and I could have agreed with this whole resolution except that anti-immigration remark. And then when I heard the chorus of political pandering that just simply was not true, I just thought there should be a balance. So for that reason, I'm not going to support this resolution. And the second reason is, I again want to say it for the last time, I agree with all of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle that the federal government should step up sooner rather than later and do a federal immigration policy, because we wouldn't be having these problems like this in Arizona or any other state near that border. We need help from the federal government, and they're all tiptoeing. They don't want to get into it now. They're waiting for the November elections. But every day they delay creates these collateral damage problems. Thank you, Madam President.
Senator